Good day, everybody. Yes, I'm in my car. It's great in here. I am reading from Cavin Balaster's book, How to Feed a Brain Nutrition for Optimal Brain Function and Repair. We are on page 90. That's where we left off. Let me see, I don't have a bookmark. That's okay. All right. We're on gastric feed information. If nutrition is being provided via a gastric tube, taste is less of an issue. Liver is probably the easiest organ to puree for a gastric tube feeds. Make sure the liver is frozen for at least 14 days to kill any possible pathogens. Then add to any other ingredients that are to go into a tube: bone broth, fruits, vegetables, good fat, meat, etc. And puree using a high powered blender like those found at feedabrain.com/tools. Rather than pureeing the liver raw, you could also cook organ meats using the included recipes or one of the recipes found at feedabrain.com/organ meat before blending. Okay, it's kind of complicated, but it's worth it because you're trying to give the patient nutrition through the gastric tube. Okay, so now we go to fermented foods. Include some amount every day. Include some amount every day. He has it capitalized. Fermented foods have been a part of the human diet in every habitable continent on the planet for hundreds of thousands of years. A food is fermented by using a combination of yeast and bacteria in an environment that does not have oxygen submerged in liquid. Over time, a a host of bacteria are created through the fermentation process, and these bacteria protect the food from spoiling. Not only that, but these beneficial bacteria be can are also very favorable to the bacterial population of our guts, the importance of which we talked about in the keep switching it up section. See if I have any glasses in here. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't think I took them, but maybe I took them. Oh, this is not right. Sunglasses. No, that's not it. Okay, never mind. Oh, here's a bookmark, though. All right. So, fermented foods are the probiotics of nature. Okay. Um, they are shown to be health promoting by enhancing the immune system and the absorption of nutrients by decreasing the prevalence of allergies and reducing the risk of certain cancers. Fermented foods in the diet are also a very cost effective way for us to protect against microbial infection and disease. Some preferred wheat and milk free, wheat free, milk free, foods include almond, soy, non GMO, and coconut yogurt, kombucha tea, beet, beet, what? I can't see it. Beet kvass, KVASS, beet kvass, and then water or coconut kefir, and kimchi, raw sauerkraut, pickles, or other fermented vegetables. The author did say that with pickles, it's a little less probiotic because you just put vinegar in it. So, well. Okay, when buying fermented foods, we want to be sure that they have not been pasteurized. Pasteurization kills the beneficial bacteria, which is the main reason we want fermented foods. And supplementation like the taste of fermented foods or currently have an undesirable reaction to them, in which case we can supplement with probiotics. While different probiotics have different effects that are useful for different conditions, as a general recommendation for wellness, the author suggests soil based organism supplements. Soil based organism supplements are usually well tolerated. You can find more information about these supplements at feedabrain.com/superfood. Still, some people may have a bad reaction to both fermented and probiotics. If this is the case for you, remove for a few days and try to reintroduce only the tiniest bit. For fermented foods, you can try 1 teaspoon at a time. For probiotics, open a capsule and sprinkle a dash in your food or water. If after at least 24 hours you are not experiencing digestive problems, you can move on to 2 teaspoons or 2 dashes of probiotic powder. Build up to 3 teaspoons the next day, 4 the next, and so on, or more probiotic powder. With the probiotics, try taking more of the capsule, working up to the recommended dose. If you experience digestive issues, go back 1 teaspoon or less probiotic for a week and then try increasing, adding 1 teaspoon or a bit more probiotic powder to your daily intake. This will encourage a gradual shift in your bacterial makeup. Gastric feed information. Because fermented foods can result in digestive issues when there is an unfavorable microbiome in the digestive system, it is important to start low and slow. 1 teaspoon fermented food or 1 dash of probiotic powder at a time, as described above. While monitoring bathroom frequency and consistency, it is advised that you work with a qualified healthcare professional. Feed a brain. Okay, so we got two. More pages. Oh my god! Wait, no way. I thought we were gonna. Okay. Oh, well, sea vegetables, food, fresh. Excuse me. Fresh or soaked and reconstituted, 2.5 ounces per day. 1/3 of an ounce or 10 grams of dried seaweed will reconstitute to about 2.5 ounces of fresh seaweed. Dried flakes, 1 teaspoon per day. Powdered is 1/4 of a teaspoon per day. Sea vegetables are important for many reasons, including their mineral rich content, and one of the most important minerals found in seaweed that is hard to find elsewhere in the diet is iodine. Iodine plays an important role in many functions of the brain and body, including the production and use of thyroid hormones, which direct all metabolism in the body. And we talked earlier about the importance of metabolism. Iodine is the good is Iodine is also good for muscle growth and for detoxing estrogen and heavy metals like lead and mercury. Indeed, iodized salts have been the primary source of iodine for the US, but for numerous reasons, I agree with Dr. Walls that we should get our iodine from whole foods like sea vegetables. Good morning. Excuse me. Thank you. Uh, uh, but thank you. Uh, liquid. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm currently on page 92. I do not want to stop because I really want to get this chapter done, chapter 10, because next week we will start in chapter 11 in the class that I'm in. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Walls. In addition to iodine, sea vegetables contain a wealth of over a dozen important minerals like chromium, iron, manganese, magnesium, selenium, vanadium, and zinc. You'll also get a variety of vitamins in the vitamin B group and vitamins A, C, E, and K. And if that wasn't good enough, sea veggies help us to protect us from absorbing toxic solvents, plastics, heavy metals, and even radioactivity. Hmm. Just as there were different colored categories of vegetables and fruits, there are different colors of the in the sea veggie family. These categories are red, brown, green, and algae. Excuse me. While it is beneficial to get any seaweed in our diets, each of these different color categories provide different benefits. So it is best to try to eat seaweed from all of the different groups. So see this sea veggie chart below or at feedabrain.com/CSEA. Sea vegetables can be found at many supermarkets. Just ask. And you can also order them online. Excuse me. Information about high quality sea vegetables is found at feedabrain.com/CSEA. The best way we can get nutrients from sea vegetables is to simply add them to our food because our taste for the food will guide us, will guide how much we want to eat. We want to start slow with a small amount and then gradually increase the amount of sea vegetables that we consume. If you're eating your sea veggies in the form of flakes, work up to 1 teaspoon per day. For powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon per day should be sufficient. For supplements, work up to the recommended dose. And if you have fresh seaweed, you want about 2.5 ounces, 71 grams each day. Now, if you are taking thyroid medication, please speak with your doctor about sea veggies. The increase in iodine can necessitate a change in medicine. Supplementation information. Go to feedabrain.com/C for links to some supplement and flakes for each different color of sea vegetables. It is especially beneficial to get a variety of different colors of sea vegetables. The simplest is to alternate between kelp supplements and dulse supplements, DULSE. Alternate with 1 capsule of either the kelp or the dulse every other day for a month. So if you had a capsule of kelp on Monday, on Wednesday you would have 1 capsule of dulse and back to 1 capsule of kelp on Friday. If by the next month you are feeling good, you can then start to alternate you can alternate the capsule each day. So if you have kelp on Monday, you would have dulse on Tuesday and then kelp again on Wednesday, etc. Gastric feed information. Ooh, this is very, very important, okay? Gastric feed information about sea vegetables. Powdered sea vegetables can be added to gastric foods and alternated each day or week as needed. But because iodine is a mineral that may drastically affect thyroid function, it is important to work with a healthcare provider and to start low and slow. For example, you might start with a 1/4 teaspoon of one color sea vegetable and alternate with a different color as often as is feasible. Okay, so on this page, he's got a little chart. Algae, red, brown, green. There are different kinds of sea vegetables. I'll hold it up here for a second. Okay, a second. In algae, you got blue-green algae, you got chlorella, spirulina, and seaweed. Under red, you've got dulse flakes, Irish moss, and nori. Under brown, you've got bladder, WRACK, and kelp, and kombu flakes, and wakame, Wakame, and green, you got sea lettuce. Okay, you can find information on many of these products at feedabrain.com/C, SEA. A cold water fatty fish include at least 2 fists per week as part of your total animal protein allowance. Wow, that's a lot of fish, huh? Compared to the usual. So it's like having a whole fish a week. Interesting. And if you have a whole fish, my personal recommendation, this is Yin Yang speaking here, that you eat the fish on the same day you cook it, because on the next day it's going to taste that fishy flavor that people don't like bloody. Anyway, in recent years, says the author, uh, many have become scared to eat fish. Contaminated waters have led to concern about the environmental pollutants found in fish. These pollutants, like PCBs, dioxins, and mercury, to name a few, have actually been shown to cause neurological problems. So, why is it that I advocate eating cold water fish? Because their benefits far outweigh the risks. In 2006, a paper titled Fish Intake, Contaminants, and Human Health Evaluating the Risks and Benefits was published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association. This, yeah, by the way, I met the guy. Anyway, so this paper analyzed several studies examining the impact of fish consumption, and it concluded, quote, for major health concerns among adults, the benefits of fish intake exceed the potential risks, end quote. There are footnotes. The article goes on to demonstrate that concerns about toxins in fish have been overblown, and that there is almost no risk associated with eating fish when a few simple precautions are taken. As it turns out, fish do not contain very many PCBs and dioxins when compared to meat, dairy, or vegetables. The bigger takeaway message that the author got from this article, was that selenium, Selenium, a mineral that's very rich in many fish, actually binds to mercury molecules, neutralizing them as a toxin. This means the fish with more selenium than mercury do not contain the unbound form of mercury that may have adverse health effects. Most fish have plenty of selenium, especially smaller fish, and as long as a fish has less mercury than selenium, the mercury content of the fish is not a reason to limit consumption. And here's a whole chart. I'm just going to give you a little description of this chart because it is really intense. All of my favorite fish have a little bit more mercury than selenium, but that's okay. Here's a swordfish on the picture. Ah, yeah, that was the description. Okay, the chart above can be found as a printable full-size PDF file at feedabrain.com/handouts. Just got 2 more pages if possible. You can hang out with me, please. Okay, smaller fish are especially safe because they tend to have less mercury and more selenium. All of that being said, we want to be careful of some fish that have more mercury than selenium. These fish include some large predatory fish like pilot whale, tarpon, marlin, swordfish, and sharks. So don't eat those. Uh, a nice a filler of wild caught Alaskan, a nice fillet with 2 L's, I guess, of wild caught Alaskan salmon, a rainbow trout, or other small fatty cold water fish is packed with nutrients that support the brain. There are sources of high quality and sustainable seafood harvested from healthy, well-managed wild fisheries, offered in both frozen and even canned options. Excellent seafood can be stored in a can for a reasonable price. And as long as fish does not get too hot, the beneficial omega 3s stay intact. But these high quality canned products are rarely available in local grocery stores. Go to feedabrain.com/fish for more information and a possible option for sourcing your seafood. One of the main nutrients that fatty fish supplies is the omega-3 fatty acid DHA. We have already talked about how supportive this nutrient is to brain health and recovery, and that sports teams and the military are even beginning to recognize the importance in treating and protecting the brains of their players and soldiers. Because omega 3s from fish have been shown to be neuroprotective, consult the graph, which shows the average omega-3 content of common fish so that you can have fewer fish with a higher you can so, blah, 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 so that you can favor fish with a higher omega-3 content while when choosing what to eat. Okay, so I'm going to show you this chart for a minute. You'd have to freeze it because I'm not going to hold it for very long. Um, it's got all the names of the fish and which ones have the highest number of omega 3s. In my case, I happen to like all the fish down here and not here, but I will eat these now, as you can see. Okay. Uh. So, in addition to supplying plenty of cold water fish, I also like to supplement DHA through fish oils like those found at feedabrain.com/omega. The chart below can be found as a printable full-size PDF at feedabrain.com/handouts. Okay, additional guidelines for brain health. What we have covered so far will likely make a huge difference for most people. But for an even better prescription that further and reduces the possibility of sensitivity reactions to foods that may negatively impact the brain, consider some of these guidelines as well. Remove or reduce grains, including non-gluten grains. Grains have a very high carbohydrate load without providing many brain supportive nutrients. Remove or reduce mushrooms. I did that the other day because of this. Mushrooms are not always well tolerated. Huh. Remove or reduce legumes, beans, and peanuts. Peanuts are legumes. Not only do legumes contribute significantly to your carbohydrate intake without supplying very much brain building nutrition, but they also contain phytates, with phytates, which are otherwise known as anti-nutrients, compounds that hinder the absorption of certain nutrients. Remove or reduce all higher carbohydrate colored fruits and vegetables see the color chart. Reduce or remove fruits and vegetables that are not on the color chart like apples, bananas, and pears. Remove eggs. Eggs can be beneficial, especially because of the choline in the yolks, but they can also be harmful if not well tolerated. For example, I experienced gas and increased mucus as a reaction to egg whites. This this suggests that I have an immune response to the food, and Testing confirms this. I do not, however, experience symptoms to egg yolks. While some practitioners disagree with this practice because the tiniest exposure to an inflammatory food will result in an immune response, if you suspect a valid if you suspect a mild intolerance to eggs but would like to include them in your diet, you may like to try the 3-step elimination diet that we talked about earlier. But for each section of the egg, whites and yolks, here's how this would be done. First, try removing eggs for at least 60 days, reintroducing just the yolk, 2 to 6 egg yolks in one day, depending on size, age, gender, etc., of pasture raised eggs, less of a chance of an inflammatory response. Continue eating the yolks for a few days. Over the next week, check in with yourself regularly to see if you notice any changes. If you notice a negative effect at any point during this experiment, stop immediately. If you're working with someone who is unable to communicate, simply remove eggs from their diet. Oh, excuse me. So if it's a patient, simply remove eggs from their diet, but be sure to supply choline through supplementation as well as through meat, especially organ meats, fish, broccoli, and or collard greens. Collard greens are better when they're first blanched or steamed. If and the author says that too. If you do not notice any changes over a week with this egg yolk experiment, you may choose to include egg yolks in your diet. After this experiment, you can try introducing the entire egg if you'd like. You don't need to wait an additional 60 days because you have already removed the entire egg for 60 days and have only introduced the egg yolk. Try introducing the entire egg an in a substantial amount, 2 to 6 eggs in one day, depending on the size, age, gender, etc., for a few days, waiting a week, and again checking in with yourself regularly to see if you notice any changes. Now, gastric feed information is where we're going to finish up. When choosing food for gastric feeding, it is a good idea to also follow all of these additional guidelines, removing the food when the guideline says remove or reduce. While removing these foods, be sure to supply adequate nutrition by following the portions outlined in this guide. You may want to work with a functional medicine practitioner, a functional nutritionist, or other qualified healthcare provider. Go to feedabrain.com/practitioners for a list of preferred practitioners. Now, I happen to know that excuse me. I happen to know that dietitians and practitioners that are nutritionists, there's a difference too. There's some kind of more to get a dietitian license than nutrition. So a nutritionist knows a certain amount, and then a dietitian knows more than that. So, okay, we've been here for almost 28 minutes, and I really appreciate your coming by. Thanks for the little compliment, Mr. 4100 MKT. And good morning. Okay, see you later, old Kinderhook.